Welcome to the PCOS Fertility Health Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Angela Potter. I am an integrative PCOS fertility doctor helping women across the country to help turn around their irregular periods, improve ovulation, and get the best chance at getting pregnant with PCOS. I'm super glad that you're here joining me today. If you are a new listener, welcome. I am overjoyed to have you here. You are in exactly the right place if you have been struggling for years to get pregnant and you've been going in to see your doctor and you get dismissive fertility advice like, well, just get back on birth control and everything will happen for you. Or just go lose weight and that's when you'll be able to get pregnant. Or your labs look fine. We don't know what else to do for you, so come back when you're ready to go through IVF. If you're getting that kind of advice and that doesn't sit right for you, you're thinking, but I want to be really getting to the root cause of my fertility struggles. Yes, I want to be getting pregnant, but I also want to be having a healthy body. I want to create this fertile, healthy environment in my body for a healthy pregnancy and a healthy baby. And so you can just feel really good in your body and know that your cycles and your hormones are working as they're supposed to be. So if that's you, then you are in exactly the right place today. We are in a 3-part series talking about lifestyle tips. We have talked about sleep, we have talked about detox, and today we are talking about nutrition, because there is no way that we can talk about lifestyle and PCOS and not cover nutrition. I want to remind you that the doors to my Boost My Fertility with PCOS group program are open. There is a $400 early bird discount that you can take advantage of before October 11th. And this is a 12-week program where you are going to uncover the root cause of your fertility struggles. You are going to get a plan to address those things, and you're going to walk away understanding what your body needs in order to get to this optimal fertility health. And so if you want to take advantage of that $400 early bird discount and you want to be joining this program, you are ready to turn your fertility around, then head on over, book a free call with me at drangelapotter.com/PCOS. Make a note that you're ready to talk about the program, and you and I will hop on the phone to talk about your fertility journey, how this program can help you, and then we'll get you signed up with that $400 discount. If you would like to support this podcast, head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review. Nutrition is very near and dear to my heart. I will share with you a little bit about my background and why I love talking about nutrition. My first passion in the medical field was nutrition. That's what got me so fired up about the beauty of the human body and the ability of it to heal when you give it the right circumstances. And food plays such a big part in that. And my nutrition degree really opened up my eyes to that. I studied in a holistic nutrition program, and so it was half based in the sciences and half based in the kitchen. We actually had kitchens in our university, and we would go down and cook and learn how to create foods to be really nourishing, how to create healing food plans for people with different conditions, how to cook food so that it had the best absorbability in the body, how to cook food so that it provided the most nutrients. It really was an exciting time in my life, and I loved that. That was a decade ago now. But now that I have become a doctor, food and nutrition still plays a fundamental role in how I work with my clients and patients. And, here's the thing. There's so much information about nutrition out there. There's countless fad diets that come around. Everyone says that they know exactly what is best for certain conditions, and that can be conflicting information. It can be really hard to understand what your body needs. Add on top of that, if you're going to see a doctor who is giving you the advice of, well, you need to lose weight in order to get pregnant, but they don't give you any sustainable ways to put that into practice on how to lose weight. So you're left to your own devices, just looking up diets on the internet and trying things that you read about. And you don't have this foundational base of the type of nutrition that's really specific for fertility and that's really specific for PCOS. So let's talk about a misconception about food and PCOS and fertility. Women out there get advice still to this day to just lose weight, to just go cut calories and lose weight. And that's when all fertility opportunities are going to open up. And that's a big misconception. Nutrition lays the groundwork for a healthy body. It's not about weight. It's about nutrients that you're getting in your diet to create this fertile abundance in the body. There is research out there on specific nutrients that are supporting egg quality, that can support proper hormone balance in the body. You can eat in a way that lowers inflammation, that helps with implantation and fertilization. And that is all really exciting and very often forgotten about in so many fertility plans. Many women, perhaps yourself included, go in to talk to their doctor and they're just recommended a fertility medication first line to get them pushing an egg out of the ovary. No, of course that's the goal, right? You want that egg to come out of the ovary. But if you don't have this foundation of health, then you aren't setting yourself up for good success once that egg has been pushed out of the ovary. Because just because the egg gets out of the ovary doesn't mean that that's getting you pregnant. There is a series of events that happen after that egg gets pushed out of the ovary that need specific nutrients. They need proper hormone balance in order for that egg to be implanted, that egg to be fertilized, and for that baby to continue forward in a very healthy pregnancy. And food plays an important role in that. Now, my philosophy in nutrition is not one that is based in restriction and avoiding certain foods, that you must avoid foods in order to improve your fertility. That's not a philosophy that I come from. Now, certainly there are times when you're reacting to certain foods that's important to identify and address and potentially avoid those foods while you're working on the digestive system. And so there are specific times when that's necessary. But in general, I am not a practitioner, a doctor who is going to say, well, you've got to avoid dairy, gluten, sugar, and coffee in order for you to get pregnant. No, there is a way to create a nourishing nutrition plan that feeds your body, that feels really good, that tastes really good, that doesn't leave you feeling like you aren't able to eat all these foods and is still supporting your fertility. And I will say, for the purposes of this podcast episode, the biggest consideration with PCOS and nutrition is blood sugar. We know that about 80% of women with PCOS have insulin resistance, and that elevated insulin pushes those testosterone levels, which shuts down egg quality. So if you're somebody that struggles with insulin resistance, food is going to be the foundational way to start turning that around. Yes, there are medications like metformin out there, but even if you are on metformin, because that can be a really good tool for many women, you don't want to just rely on that medication to take care of everything else that's going on. You still need to be working with your body to be eating in a way that's supportive of keeping blood sugar balanced throughout the day. Because with blood sugar in particular, it starts with food. Blood sugar and insulin are responding to the foods that you eat, or honestly, the foods that you don't eat. And so that food that you give yourself needs to be the foundation of blood sugar balance. Blood sugar balance begins with the food that you eat. Yes, you can get on a medication, but it's so important to be supporting the body with the foods that you're eating, because you could be on metformin and that could be supporting your blood sugar levels. But then if you're eating in a way that is spiking your blood sugar, that's raising insulin levels, then those things are in opposition of one another. And it's not supporting your fertility goals as you would want to be. So let's talk about blood sugar. What are signs that blood sugar is off? Well, for many people, that's going to be hangry. Do you ever get hangry when you go too long without having a meal or you skip a meal? Feeling kind of shaky, getting a little blurry vision, feeling lightheaded, maybe you have to sit down, like a little woozy. Those are all classic signs of blood sugar crashing. And when blood sugar crashes, that means that before it had risen too high and now it's crashing too low. When we were talking about sleep 2 weeks back, I mentioned that blood sugar issues are the number one reason of waking up in the middle of the night that I see in my practice. And that's because when the blood sugar crashes, your body wants you to be eating sugar to raise that up, that raise those blood sugar levels. And so in the middle of the night, it's not going to make you hangry. No, you're asleep. And so what it does is it wakes you up in order to alert you. Now, you might not necessarily wake up feeling hungry, but that's one of the most common underlying causes of middle of the night insomnia that I see. Sugar cravings can be a big sign of blood sugar imbalance. It's not that the sugar is bad. Your body is actually craving that sugar in order to raise your blood glucose, your blood sugar levels, after they've crashed too far. And then when you eat sugar, something, cookies or something with a lot of white flour in it that raises blood sugar levels really high, then it crashes back down again and it just creates this vicious cycle. You can be supporting your blood sugar levels right now. This is something that you can start making decisions on in the next 5 minutes on how your blood sugar is going to rise and fall for the rest of the day. This is powerful stuff, and we know that connection between blood sugar levels and ovulation. And you can be changing your blood sugar levels with everything that you eat. This is really cool because you can walk away from this episode making these changes so that you can start keeping your blood sugar balanced and improving ovulation. You might have had your insulin tested and you've been told that you have insulin resistance. Maybe you've had your hemoglobin A1C tested, and that looks at blood sugar over the past 3 months. It gives you an average, which can tell you what your blood sugar's been doing. And then one thing that I really love is a glucometer, which is where you can get those, they implant in the arm, or you just get the little strips and you do a finger prick, and then you can be getting these results pretty consistently to really get an idea of, okay, which foods are spiking your blood sugar, which food combinations are spiking your blood sugar, and what timing of your meals contributes to blood sugar spikes. So those can give you really good information on a daily basis about your blood sugar. But what do you do when you're in this place where you're like, okay, my doctor told me that the only thing left for me is IVF, and I know that I'm struggling with blood sugar issues. What can I be doing? In order to get your blood sugar back into balance, there's a couple of foundations that we'll talk about today. Number one is eating protein. Protein with every meal throughout the day, protein with every meal throughout the day, and even with snacks. I recommend 30 grams of protein at each meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I will say that's trickiest for people in the mornings. Some people actually start transitioning to eating more like lunch or dinner foods during breakfast time. Soups, I would say, are the biggest ones. But if that feels really difficult for you, eggs are a great source of protein. Nut butters are a great source of protein. So those can be some really easy go-to protein-rich sources, yogurt as well. Now, we know that white sugar spikes blood sugar. and spikes insulin levels. It's not the sugar that's the bad thing. It's what it's paired with. So just eating, let's say, a cookie made with white flour and white sugar, and you eat that cookie at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you had lunch at noon, you haven't had anything since then. That cookie is going to spike your blood sugar levels, okay? But if you had a handful of nuts, maybe some yogurt, and also had the cookie, but it was made with whole wheat flour, that is going to spike blood sugar levels much lower. Well, I would say it would raise blood sugar levels much lower. It's not going to spike them. So do you see how it's not just the sugar, it's actually pairing sugary things with protein to help steady the blood sugar response. There was a study done, the Nurses' Health Study. It was an observational study, and there was a subset where 19,000 nurses stepped forward and said, hey, we're having fertility struggles. And so the researchers watched these 19,000 women to see if there were commonalities in what they were eating, their lifestyle, things they were doing were contributing to fertility. And they did find foods that were associated with lower fertility rates. Those foods were ones like boxed cereals, white flour, white sugar, white potatoes, and white rice. At one point, you could say to yourself, well, if those foods were found to be associated with lower fertility rates, I have to avoid those foods altogether. And it's not that that individual food is bad. It's when we take a step back and look at those are foods that tend to spike blood sugar levels really easily. They're very quickly digested and spike blood sugar levels. Having a plate of white potatoes is going to be different than if you're making like a big stew. You've got a nice roast in there or lots of beans in there, and you happen to put in a potato or two. Your body's going to respond to those foods much different. Whole grains are a really important way to help regulate blood sugar levels. Switching out white flours for whole grain flours. If you're a baker, doing that at home, or when you're going to the grocery store, look for whole wheat flours in bread, in cookies. There's lots of options these days with whole grains. You can also be cooking grains. A lot of information out on the internet talks about grain-free diets and the benefits of grain-free diets for blood sugar levels, but whole grains have very good research behind them to be helping this insulin response. If you're cooking with whole grains like quinoa, millet, brown rice, foods like that, then you're actually supporting that blood sugar balance, and those whole grains have extra nutrients in them than their counterparts that have been refined, that have been stripped of their nutrients. When you are walking away from this episode and you're like, okay, what can I be doing? So you're going to be adding in protein to your meals, 30 grams of protein at every meal. Having snacks and having a snack that has protein in it. Nuts, cheese, yogurt, those are really good things to grab for protein for having a snack. And then the second thing is to be focused on adding whole grains into your diet, ones that we just talked about. And how can you be switching out different foods that you're eating with refined white grains and moving those into whole grains. If you're in that place where you have been to your doctor and they are telling you that your labs look fine, there's nothing that they can do for you, and you just need to wait when you're ready for IVF to go back into their office, and you really want to be uncovering the root cause of your fertility, if this has really resonated with you, that you haven't gotten this specific nutrition advice for your body, and you want to be supporting this optimal fertility health in your body, not just with nutrition, but really understanding what your body needs in order to get to a place where you're having regular ovulation, your periods are regular, and you have the best chance at getting pregnant with PCOS. If that's your goal, then sign up for a free PCOS fertility breakthrough session with me. This is a free phone call where you and I are going to talk about your unique fertility needs. What's going on with your body that's keeping you stuck? What are these missing links that are keeping you in this pattern of not getting the results that you're looking for? So we're going to talk about this on that PCOS fertility breakthrough session. You can sign up at drangelapotter.com/PCOS. Just a reminder that the information on this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not stand in the place of information that you're getting from your doctor currently. And if nobody else has told you this today, I want to be the one to tell you that I believe in you and I believe in your ability to get the best chance at getting pregnant with PCOS. I'll see you next week.